It's Tuesday, November 2nd, 2021. Well, Avis is up 200%, Bed Bath & Beyond up 100%. Once Kodak explodes, you know the end is very near. We are just continuing to watch this massive market manipulation, markets breaking new all-time highs. It's absolutely crazy. Tomorrow, the Fed will wrap up its meeting, and we're going to hear about the post-crisis Fed tapering coming. Now, what does this mean? More than likely, they're going to be buying less bonds. I think we're going to hear a little bit more. I think we'll get some clues on the raising of interest rates in 2022. So we'll see what happens. Markets right now, futures are down a little bit, pretty flat, waiting on the word from the Fed. Tomorrow should be pretty interesting. But again, you can't believe anything the Fed says at this point. You know, I want to bring this story up before I forget, and we'll talk more about this economy. But I went to a donut place today, a mochi donut house, I guess you would call it. It's a Japanese style donut, nothing special. And I could not believe, first off, there were so many people in this donut shop, and we've tried to go to it the last couple of weeks. So the line has been out the door. So today there was, maybe about 7, 8, 9 people in front of us. Not that bad. So let's check it out. And again, this is a mochi donut, a Japanese Asian style donut, normal size of a regular donut. And I could not believe the price of a donut. $3.50 for a donut. Okay. And there's been a line out the door for 2 weeks. I refused to buy a donut. I just could not do it. $3.50 for a donut. A dozen was $30. Okay. Let me repeat. A dozen donuts, $30. And there have been people lined up out the door for these things. These are the same people who have no gold, no silver, nothing but excuses of why they don't own assets, but they can afford $30 for a dozen donuts. I refused. I did not purchase a donut. I just could not do it. It was unbelievable. Hell will freeze over before I pay $3.50 for a donut. But again, Avis up 200%, Bed Bath & Beyond up 100%. When you see Kodak up 300%, you know the end is very near. Massive manipulation. Again, let's see what happens tomorrow with this Fed meeting and what they come out and say. But again, I think we're going to hear about some tapering. I think they're going to be buying less bonds, and I think we're going to get some clues on interest rate hikes coming. So we'll see what happens. The hedge today. Zillow fires 25% of workforce, scraps robo-flipping program after huge loss. We've been talking about that, but today, Zillow announced it is going to reduce its workforce by 25% and completely scrap its home flipping operation. What does this mean for the housing market? Means to me that we're beginning to see it really cool off. And there's going to be a lot of people without a job here. The company lost more than $380 million on the program, plan to take write-downs of as much as $569 million. So there's a lot of houses coming on the market from Zillow, and that means more inventory, and this is another bellwether of things to come. Things are slowing down. Zillow scrambles to punt 7,000 homes for $2.8 billion as AI flipping scheme ends in disaster. More inventory hitting the market, ladies and gentlemen. And this is, I think, a big deal. I think this is a big deal. They've really helped to inflate this bubble, and now they're getting out. The Fed has pumped up this real estate market by injecting billions of dollars into mortgage-backed securities. Institutional investors have also pumped up the real estate market like Zillow by buying billions of dollars of homes and paying 10, 20, 40, 50,000 plus dollars over listing price. People have also pumped up this bubble. The average consumer who got suckered into this frenzy went out and got huge mortgages on overvalued real estate. How does this end? This is going to end with this bubble bursting. It's going to end with a real estate collapse, and sales are going to be coming. Not saying that's going to be tomorrow, next week, or next month, but they are coming. No doubt about it, ladies and gentlemen. Patience is a virtue right now. If you've got some cash, if you've got a place to live right now and you don't have to move, I would say hold steady. Opportunity is coming. But again, don't take my advice. I don't give financial advice. This is how I see it. This is how I'm looking at it. And I think clearly we are beginning to see a shift of the pendulum here. Another article today. This from the New York Times. China urges families to stock up on food for winter months. China has called on families and local governments to stock up on daily necessities. So why is this? What do they know that is coming? Is it more lockdowns? Is it a war coming to Taiwan? It says right here, vegetable prices have soared due to weather and floods, as we know. They said that some vegetables cost even more than meat at this point. This is how hard and difficult it is to get vegetables in China. So more lockdowns, maybe it's war coming to Taiwan. Who knows? But China's warning its people to get ready for something. And I think we should all take some of that advice. We should all be getting ready for something. We don't know what is coming next, but as we know, as we connect the dots, things right now are not normal. Anything is possible, and you need to be ready. Another article today. This one was talking about children and their addiction to the iPad, to their smartphones, and it's really creating zombies. Kids don't even know at this point how to ride a bicycle. Physically, they're very, very weak. Mentally, they're very weak. And because they don't have communication skills, they don't get out and do physical activities. They're in their rooms on an iPad, on a smartphone, 8 hours a day, according to this article, on average, 8 hours a day looking at smartphones, tablets, and televisions. Tell me, if you're a parent, do you really think that this is healthy mentally and physically? We are heading into a time, look, this is spiritual warfare, ladies and gentlemen, spiritual warfare. We are heading right now into an economic collapse that has already begun. Somebody wrote me again today, when's the collapse going to happen? Can you not look out the window and see what is happening right now? You are in it. You are in the beginning stages of this collapse. Take a look at the food lines, the food insecurity, the amount of homelessness. Take a look at how many people are losing their jobs on a weekly basis, how many people are quitting their jobs. Take a look at what is happening, okay? Look at the debt, the deficits, the unfunded pensions, the crumbling infrastructure. The list goes on and on and on. And people are allowing their kids to be zombies. They should be preparing their kids. Their kids should really be aware of what is happening. Right now is not the time to be glued to a tablet watching cartoons or playing video games. This is the time to get off the couch, get in better physical shape, better mental shape, better spiritual shape, and better financial shape. And this goes for your kids too. Your kids are not going to be prepared for what is coming. More than likely, your kids have never, ever gone hungry. More than likely, they've probably never missed a meal. How are they going to have a mental mindset to deal with what's coming? They're going to see things that they never thought humanly possible. You're going to see things that you never thought humanly possible. And yet we're preparing our kids by watching cartoons, playing video games, watching reality TV. Their minds are soft, their minds are jello, and they're so influenced by this make-believe coming out of Hollywood. Not really a good thing to be doing right now. If you're a parent, my goodness, 8 hours on average, your kid on a computer watching this garbage, right? What are they learning? This is why when you go to a restaurant today, you go to an establishment, the people working there cannot communicate with you. They are like zombies, like robots. And this is why so many jobs will be easily replaced by technology and robotics, because we literally are dealing with zombies now. So if you're a parent, and look, I'm not telling anybody how to be a parent, I don't have kids, but if I was, there's no way my kid would be glued to a television or an iPad or their phone right now. They'd be getting out, getting in shape. They would be absorbing knowledge of what's coming and preparing. They would be out training, knowing how to operate, and they would be aware of what's coming so that their mind begins to prepare for what's coming. You need to be hardening your mind right now and your body. If you're not, you're going to be doomed when this thing hits. And I feel so sorry for people who have allowed their kids to just be weak. Another article I want to share with you today. College costs have increased by 169% since 1980, but pay for young workers is up by just 19%. This is a Georgetown report. We're continuing to watch people drowned in college tuition debt that they're never going to be able to pay off, and this is creating more debt slaves. If you're a young person, you're thinking about college, really, really think about learning a skill, getting a trade, because so many people now are learning that these degrees are worthless, that you're going to be a debt slave for a very, very long time. Many people will never be able to pay this debt off. They're going to become old and still have this debt that is never going to go away. So, again, debt is a killer, ladies and gentlemen. I know there's people out there telling you to acquire debt as we head into this collapse. But I think that the more debt you have, the more the odds will be against you as we enter this collapse. 2008, as I remember it like yesterday, you did not want to have debt. Debt is not going to be forgiven, okay? Debt is going to take you down. Debt will make you a victim of this collapse. So if you're young, this is probably the worst time you could possibly be acquiring debt. Here's another article. How car shortages are putting the world's economy at risk. For every car that doesn't roll off the assembly line, jobs are in jeopardy. The shutdown in automaking countries such as the United States can leave scars that take years to recover. Think about how many people are not going to be working when we don't get chips, when we don't get certain parts for an automobile. We cannot build cars. Those cars are not rolling down the assembly line. That means workers are not going to need to be at those factories building cars. The slowdown is going to have a huge drag on the economy and employment right here in America. And I think heading into 2022, these shortages are going to continue, ladies and gentlemen. And the other shortage is going to be consumers that can afford to buy an automobile, let alone put gas in an automobile. So when you have these supply shortages for parts, chips, and then you have a demand shortage because people aren't working, their wages aren't keeping up with the inflation. This is going to be a big, big problem coming into 2022. The pain will be felt most on workers and the consumer in need of an affordable car. Cars, used and new, prices have never been this high, and until this collapse, until we have this reckoning, people are going to have to pay a lot of money for an automobile. But I think that that's going to turn around too. Just like housing, we're going to see this massive inflation in certain sectors, and then we're going to see massive deflation in certain sectors. And this is why I'm putting away cash and I'm putting away precious metals. So another question I have, and please comment down below, what happens to the average American when they cannot get an auto part? You need a starter, you need an alternator, you need spark plugs, you need rotors, you need brake pads. What happens when we cannot get these essentials that we need to maintain cars, or when something breaks? What happens when the average American can't get these parts? I mean, this is where it's all heading, ladies and gentlemen. The shortages are going to increase. I know that there's people out there telling you in the next couple weeks, the next 30 days, everything's going to be fine or it's going to improve. It's not. It's going to get worse. Another article today, Bank of America sees oil hitting $120 by June, could rise much higher. This really is going to hurt the poor and middle class right here in America. Again, it's difficult enough to afford to buy a new or used car. You imagine what gas prices are going to be when oil hits $120+ a barrel. Look, super unleaded right now at Chevron right here in Southern California is $5.09 and climbing. Quite possibly that can easily go to $6, $7. And as I've said in one of my past videos, these people driving around these massive SUVs and these massive pickup trucks, an F-250, F-350 fuel tanks, 34 to 48 gallons, figured out at $5.09 what it costs to fuel a truck like that up, over $200. I mean, it's insane. Cost of everything is going to continue to go up, ladies and gentlemen. Products, are moved by trains and by trucks, both consuming diesel fuel. So as oil prices go up, to transfer these products from the ports, from one city to the next, to your Walmart, to your grocery store, to your Bed Bath and Beyond, or whatever, it's going to cost more money because fuel is going to skyrocket. There was another really good article on The Hedge today, and it's titled, "Billionaire Tax is a Ploy to Take Eyes Off Bigger Problems." And I'll paraphrase through this article for you. If you get a chance, check it out. It says this: in sports, the term head fake is used to describe the act of moving in such a way to deceive an opponent as to one's intended direction or move. The idea of a billionaire tax to tax the super rich with the idea they will pay for all the gifts the government wants to shower on the people is such a distraction. The idea that we can level a playing field tilted to favor rich by taxing them after billions of dollars are transferred into the coffers through questionable policies is BS. You want to address inequality? What we need is new policies that promote small businesses. Small business promote choice, and choice promotes freedom. And you take a look and you see what has happened to small business in the last year and a half. It's been decimated. We've lost a couple 100,000 small businesses right here in the US. And people go, when's the collapse going to happen? You just saw 200,000 small businesses decimated right here in the United States of America. And you wonder where the collapse is? Ask the people who owned all those small businesses. Ask the communities that don't have those small businesses. Ask the municipalities that don't have the tax revenue coming in from those small businesses. The average medium household income is roughly $70,000 per year, which pays 14% in federal taxes each year. The top 25 richest Americans paid a true tax rate of just 3.4% on wealth growth of $401 billion between 2014 to 2018. They kept up with inflation. Did you? The billionaire tax sounds nice. It's an attempt to convince you that the government can bring in more revenue to help you. But what it will do is unleash a nightmare, especially to the middle class here and the American people. Really all American people, but it's really going to damage the middle class. These taxes will morph into a system that works its way downward to the middle class. The super rich avoid these taxes through lawyers and experts that they pay to get through these loopholes. There's always loopholes, right? And if you have the money, you can pay the experts, you can pay the lawyers, and you will exploit those loopholes. You want to solve inequality? Promote small business. Promote less taxes for everyone, rich, poor, and everybody in between. Promote less government bureaucracy. Promote the American dream. Don't turn this into a nightmare. And unfortunately, we are now in a nightmare, ladies and gentlemen. And this is going to be a nightmare that is going to be very, very difficult to get out of. I want to switch gears now, talk about this article that came from CBS News. LAX hit by massive power outage. The outage was reported around noon today in terminals 1, 2, and 3. A number of flights were canceled during this event. The power is now being restored. I mean, LAX is one of the biggest airports in the entire world, and the power in 3 terminals was shut down. What caused it? Was it a glitch? Was it a cyber attack? What was it? I mean, just when I see things like this, and I bring this article up to you, and I mention it because what happens when it's your bank? What happens when it's your water treatment facility? What happens when it's your grid and you can't turn the power on at your house, you can't turn the heat on, you can't turn the air conditioning on? You're gonna have a big problem. And usually these things get resolved within hours or a day or two. But I think we're coming to a point now where there's so much technology and we're going to see so much cyber warfare taking place, and the chances of a grid going down, the chances of a municipality going down, these risks, these chances are rising every day. I think a lot of people, if they just didn't have the power for one day, would really have a hard time. What if it's 3 days? What if it's a week? What if it's 2 weeks? Are you prepared enough to deal with no power, no running water, no heat, no air conditioning? People think like the food in the refrigerator is going to be fine for the next 30 days. Well, when the electricity isn't running and your food's not refrigerated and your freezer isn't working, the meat, the fish, the pork, the vegetables, everything is going to be no good, right? Just within a matter of days. So, I wanted to bring this up because we are hearing so much now. China telling its people to prepare, get essentials, get food, get water. I think every one of us should be doing the same thing. And I hope nothing bad ever happens. But don't you think you'd sleep better at night knowing that you and your kids would be able to survive a power outage, a grid down, a cyber attack, 30 days off the system? Don't you think all of you would sleep better knowing that your kids are going to have water, your kids will have food, and you're going to survive? And of course, you better have security. I think minimal, I've always said this, minimal 30 days, be ready to go 30 days. I'm going to have to say, look, I think that 30 days is the bare minimum, but I'm saying I think we all need to be prepared for 90 days now. Things are getting much worse. We're seeing these outages every day now. Entire countries out. Many of you have been writing me about your banks out, ATMs out, temporary bank closings, permanent bank closings. Many of you telling me that you can only get a certain amount of cash out of your bank. Some people say I could only get 700-800 out. Some people 3,000-4,000 out. Some people 7,000 out. But they could not. There was limitations. If an emergency happens, you know where most people are going. They're going to the grocery store, and they're going to their bank. And I think when you're your own central bank and you have money in areas that you can access during emergency, when you have food preparations of 90 days plus, and you don't have to go out in this conflict and be around these confrontations that are going to take place at banks, that are going to take place at grocery stores, that are going to take place at the Walmarts. Your bank will just shut down. The ATMs will shut down. The doors will be locked. The vaults are locked. Good luck. You'll get your money out when they say you can. I don't ever want to be in that position, ladies and gentlemen, and I don't think you should either. And this is why I don't keep all my money in the bank. This is why I keep my money in separate locations that I can get to. And I think that we really need to diversify our lives and our lifestyles, that we don't keep all our eggs in one basket, that we're not just holding gold, but we're holding food, we're holding water, we're holding some gold, some silver, some cash. And many of you hold cryptocurrencies. God bless you. I think diversification is key, but you need to be thinking outside the box for your own life, for your own situation. And if you believe that this dollar's in trouble, if you believe the system is melting down, if you believe the system and the financial institutions are not going to be there for you, then you better start doing something right now. The writing is on the wall. And so many people are still hoping that everything's going to be okay, that we're going to have a recovery. Take a look at the recovery, ladies and gentlemen. They lied to you. We all knew there was going to be no recovery. I've said it from day one. Many of you said the same thing. Transitory, right? What happened to transitory? Another lie. And tomorrow, we're going to get more lies from the Fed. You right now need to be in charge of your own lives. You right now need to be your own central banks, and you need to be your own security team too. Because when things break down financially, they're going to break down socially. I'm going to leave it there tonight. God bless every one of you. Pray for this country. Thank God for everything you have. Thank God you had a meal today. Thank God for your family, your friends. Thank God that the power is on. But God gave you a mind. He gave you free will. And you know right now something is very wrong, and you are awoken to what is happening. And this is why you're preparing. This is why you will continue to prepare. Look, I hope nothing bad happens. I hope we never have to use emergency food. I hope we never have to use our gold, our silver, our security. But look, I live in the real world, and from what I see right now, the odds are that you will be using that emergency food. The odds are that you may be using that gold and silver, that security. So get it and pray to God you never have to use it. But unfortunately, I think you're going to need it. And I think you're going to be happy and sleep better at night knowing that you have it. God bless all of you. Share this video, give it a thumbs up, and I'll talk with all of you very, very soon.